Have you seen them? 14-year-old Jenna Johnson of West Avenue, Kingston 4. Jenna has been missing since Friday, April 30. She's of brown complexion, slim build, and 4 feet 8 inches. Jenna was last seen at home, dressed in a red and white blouse and blue jeans shorts. 15-year-old Shantae Edwards of 3 West Greater Portmore in St. Catherine. Shantae has been missing since Tuesday, May 4. She's of brown complexion, slim build, and 5 feet 6 inches tall. Shantae was last seen at home about 3 p.m. wearing a blue skirt and pink tights. 15-year-old Alyssa Edwards of Sunside District in St. Mary. Alyssa has been missing since Tuesday, May 4. She's of brown complexion, slim build, and 4 feet 5 inches. Alyssa left home to go to Portmore Town Centre to meet with relatives and has not been heard from since. 65-year-old Michael Campbell of Torra District, Frome in Westmoreland. Michael has been missing since April 27. He's of dark complexion, medium build, and 5 feet 7 inches tall. Michael was last seen wearing a blue striped shirt, khaki pants, and a pair of sneakers, carrying a grey bag. 45-year-old Krishna Mansaram, otherwise called Chris, of Content Garden, Ocherius in St. Anne. Krishna has been missing since April 30. He's of brown complexion, medium build, and 5 feet 7 inches tall. Krishna was last seen in the St. Anne Parish Court wearing a blue shirt, black pants, and a pair of black shoes. If you have any information, if you hear any whispers about their whereabouts, call the numbers on your screen. Contact the nearest police station. Please, tell us what you know.
Welcome to Grung TV, the entertainment hub for news, views, reviews, and gossip. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell.
I forgive the two of you who put me in the pit because they are young people and they do not understand. I leave all judgment to God. No, I never give up. I believe my faith in God keep me alive. And so I should put my foot in. And putting my foot inside, they just let me go. And they let me go, I keep going down, down. When I reach the bottom of the pit, I just rolled to the corner of the pit because I didn't expect to hear a gunshot. They start to drop stones, big stones. They start to throw oil, like gas oil or gas, and then they drop plastic on it. And they start to catch a cave on fire. And then I heard the police say, "It is the police." Oh God, every hair in my head stand up. I said, "It is the police." So I still saying under. So how do I sure it is the police? They turn on the police radio and say, "Hear this." And me hear the police radio tripping and they talking. Then I said, "I'm still not sure." I said, "How do I really sure it is?" And so we're sending for the fireman to come and take you out. Then I believe them.
Being this is Child Month, the month of May is recognized as Child Month. I want to appeal to families, friends, neighbors, not just in St. Anne, but in Jamaica, to ensure that we protect our children, especially the young. Ensure that when they're going to the shops or you're sending them to interact with other family members, that we are very careful who we leave our children with. We have to protect the future, and as such, we need to protect our children. We're asking, we're pleading, if anyone have information relative to any abuse, whether sexual or otherwise, you can reach out to the police services, 119, 811, or 311.
We have a system of copycatting amongst our criminal offenders, I find. Sad to say, parents need to be extremely vigilant because we could hear another tomorrow, and so I want to echo the call that it is people whom we know and trust that have access to our children without much barriers. And so we need to be very, very careful about the systems of supervision, the people who we expose them to, and be very in tune with things that may seem a little bit off. For me, it's really a number of issues that are at play. Is it that these persons who do these acts do not understand how to operate with a certain degree of civility? That's the first thing. Is it that these persons are so inept in terms of their own personal development that they have to prey on persons who are not as able to withstand the threat that they pose? And it goes back to, again, unfortunately, how we are rearing our children and the understanding that we impart as adults. One of the issues that I called for was, since we can already get DNA samples for certain matters, for me, when it comes down to sexual offenses involving children, we need to have this application, if you were, by the prosecution for DNA evidence to be a matter of course. We're coming from the days when, a suspect had to consent and so on, which is, good because you don't want to violate somebody. But for me, there need to be perhaps certain inferences now that we draw if the suspect refuses.
All 5 have been charged for abduction, burglary, and grievous sexual assault. The ages are 23 to 16 years old, 118 and 120. On receipt of this complaint, the entire CISOCA and other related agencies in the St. Division was activated. A lot of time was spent dealing with this matter. There were several interviews with the accused persons, as also other witnesses. This has led to the charges being laid down in such a short time. The community is a bit, surprised that these things took place, but our community safety and security branch, they have been deployed in these communities, reassuring the residents and offering counseling to residents. So we are there, and we will be there until some stability in terms of mental stability is returned to these communities.
We have done the initial, and we refer to the Victim Services Division and the Child Guidance Clinic from the Ministry of Health will all provide that support for her. She needs support to treat with what she's going through. She's going to need support if she has to go to court, and the Victim Services does that preparation and counseling support so that she is able to. We have to treat with her going back to school, face-to-face with persons, happen to have the information, so a lot of help, a lot of therapy that she's going to need over the longer term. Obviously, if there is a physical, trauma,
physical
and
mental,
treated through medical, but the mental thing is too, and the specialists, the clinicians would tell you, they have, so what we have had to do, because we're seeing younger children, we do art and play therapy. So we use the language of children play to help them in the therapy. So most times those strategies have to be utilized so that he gets to understand what's happening. And we do teach parents to look out for signs that he might be adversely affected. He's withdrawn, he stops eating. If there are other siblings, he starts to beat upon them. Things like those. If we were in school, then teachers could observe, any change in behavior. We really need to have psychologists, clinical psychologists that are going to help us to treat with the children on a long-term basis.
How many of those you have? 4, you said?
We have 4 clinicians, and we do hire the services or send children to be assessed externally, and we do use the public health system through the Ministry of Health, Victim Services through counseling support.
You have
so
4. How many you need?
Together.
How many you really need?
I think if we double the complement, at least internally, and then if Ministry of Health through Victim Services get additional support in that sector, then we would be able to address the issues. But it's a serious fall in service provision in terms of the clinical work. Some might have to get medication depending on if it's a psychiatric problem, or it's just a psychological problem that can be treated through, cognitive therapy or other methodologies. It's an area, if I should say, the greatest need that we have in terms of addressing these issues is the psychosocial intervention that we require. It's the same resource that is being used, and so it's difficult. What we do in terms of our parenting training and the other practitioners in the field and other stakeholders who do the training with parents is to teach parents to understand child development and the issues that might face and coping mechanisms, giving them skills to be able to use. So they could use those skills in between the therapy event. So you have a weekly appointment or you have an appointment every 2 months or every month. In between that, what are the strategies that the parents encouraged to use